Hey, it's Dr. John Terry, President of the International Martial Arts Council of America. Welcome to another installment of Martial Arts Business Mastery, where we're going to be sharing some tips, tools, insights, and resources to help you experience more impact, more influence, and make more income as you serve your students and your community at an ever higher level. Now, IMAC is an association focused on helping martial arts school owners and instructors not only up-level their martial arts game in their chosen art or profession, we're focused on helping you master the art of business development, giving you an opportunity to understand that you're not just a martial arts instructor, you are an entrepreneur. You're a business owner who teaches martial arts as a component of what you do in your business. Now, we believe there are 7 business success essentials you've got to have in your business. And in each one of these installments, we're going to take a little snippet from what we teach in our masterminds and give you an opportunity to learn some of what you would be gleaning if you were in the room with us for one of our regional or national masterminds that we host. This week, we're going to lean into the area of communication and connection, one of the 6 essential success principles. And we're going to talk about the power of a pause. Now, I'm a professional speaker by trade, and I get the opportunity to travel across the United States and around the world and speak from a variety of stages. And one of the things that I can tell you when speaking to audiences, whether it's small or large, there is power in a pause. There is a strategic silence where you can use a pause in your teaching to make a bigger impact and to get across the point you're trying to make. Now, let's lean into the science of communication. And as we lean into that, there's a fact you need to know. A purposeful pause allows the brain a moment to pause, and not only to pause, but to process. Now, this is essential to learning because as the brain takes in input from all of our senses, seeing, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, all of the senses, as they are pushing electrical impulses into the brain, at times the brain is having to sort through all of this information that it's getting, and sometimes sensory overload takes place. When we're communicating, the opportunity to take a pause allows the brain to take a moment. Just like when we're speaking, occasionally we've got to pause and take a breath. The brain needs a similar moment to pause and to process all the information that it's received up to that point and begin the appropriate process of filing that information, retaining what's necessary and essential and discarding what is unnecessary and unessential. There is strategic power in a pause. Now, there's a truth you need to understand as a martial arts school owner and instructor, and that truth is this. A strategic pause can help you as an instructor improve your delivery. You can get the points that you're teaching across more clearly and more concisely with a pause. A strategic pause can also create emphasis, making sure that your students pay very close attention to the very intricate and specific details of a technique you're trying to teach. A pause can also enhance learning, and it can demand and command more attention, and it can do so more effectively than constantly talking. I can tell you from the stage, when I stop and take a pause before I'm getting ready to share something that is of importance to the audience, you can literally see the audience lean into the pause, and you know in that moment they're ready to receive the truth you're willing to share. Now, the same thing is true with your students because whether you realize it or not, every time you're teaching class, you're on a stage. Now, it may not be a big stage. It may only be a handful of students. It might be 100 or 200, depending on the size of your school. But you are on a stage. It's your moment to speak and to be heard. So you need to understand how the power of a pause fits in to effective communication. So here's a couple of things you need to know. One of those is pretty obvious. Most instructors talk way too much. We've got a lot of information we want to dispel to our students, and we've only got a limited amount of time in each class. So sometimes we talk too much, and we don't give our students time to process what we've already shared with them and to integrate that information. Now, this is an important point to lean in on because not everybody learns the same way. Some people learn by a step-by-step 1, 2, 3, 4 process. And if you give them 1, 2, or 3 steps at a time, they can learn. If you give them 8, 10, or 12, it's system overload. They can't do it. Other people learn by needing to understand the reason why. Other people learn when there's an action element to it and they can have a little fun and go take action. Other people are simply going to learn through rote repetition. Understanding that is important, but the value of a pause in every one of those learning styles gives the brain that opportunity to pause, to reset, to store the information that's essential, and to begin to put the pieces of the teaching and training together so it makes more cohesive sense as they're trying to master their martial art. This is one of the ways that you improve the learning process. Now, it's also important that you need to know that silence invites attention. When students experience a pause, they sense inside their being that something important is coming. And what I love to call the pregnant pause, that pause that you see a woman do when she's heavy with child and she's got to stop and pause for just a moment and take a deep breath before she can take her next step or say something she wanted to say or do something she wanted to do. That pregnant pause in your teaching can be powerful. And you also need to understand that a strategic pause can create emphasis. A pause can stress the importance of what you just said, or it can increase the anticipation of what was about to be said. So, what's your action plan for this week when it comes to the power of a pause? Number one, I want you to practice the pregnant pause after your most important teaching point in each class this week. I want you to identify one thing that if there's one part of your teaching you want to make sure your students get this day, what is it? And before you get ready to present that point, or after you present that point, insert a pregnant pause. What do I mean? I'm talking about a 2 to 3 second pause where you say nothing after a powerful teaching point. Now, you can also do the same thing, pausing before a powerful teaching point, as I shared earlier, to get the students to lean in. When you do that in your teaching, it allows the students time, if it's after the point, to marinate that thought and to go a little deeper in their thinking. If you do it before the thought, they're going to lean in and say, what he's about to say is important. I need to pay attention. Now, if you're using the pregnant pause after a teaching point, you want to make sure you do something like this. After that pause, you want to say, did you get that? Or you want to go back and repeat that point. Let me say that again. Because what that does is that reinforces the importance of that particular part of the technique you're teaching, and the brain says, you've got to pay close attention to this. Not only did they pause, they repeated it. That's how we inspire deep learning. Now, not only do I want you to work on practicing a pregnant pause, when asking questions, I want you to physically count to 3 before you allow your students to answer the question. When you do that and you get them to pause before they answer, number one, you're going to encourage a deeper, more meaningful thinking on behalf of the students. They're not just going to say the first thing that comes to their mind. They're going to give that answer some thought, and what they should come back with is a more insightful answer. You're inviting them to give you a more refined, deliberate response. And in doing so, you're literally teaching your students not what to think, but how to think. And when we teach our students how to think, it opens up a world of endless possibilities, especially when it comes to the bunkai and understanding how we break down and apply our katas and our forms in real-world scenarios. The last thing it does is this. You're inspiring your students. When you ask a question and you allow that pregnant pause before they can answer, you're inspiring them to insightfully learn. Because when they've got to go deeper in their thinking, they've got to give you a more refined response, and they're learning how to think. They're now teaching their brain what they need to pay attention to and what's important to remember. Now, I want to mention that we offer each year the third week of July, and this will be our 27th year in 2025, a national training camp and our Hall of Fame banquet. At a national training camp that we host every year, this will be year number 27, we bring in 15 master level instructors from around the world. All day Thursday, all day Friday, half day Saturday, 15 master level instructors, each teaching a different martial arts style or discipline. Everybody gets to be a white belt for 3 days to take something new and innovative back to their school. It's also a great time of fellowshipping and getting to learn and interact and engage with other school owners and instructors. And these master level instructors, once you meet them, you're going to want to invite many of them to come teach a workshop in your school. We also convene our Grand Masters Council, which is a very incredible event. Literally hundreds and hundreds, sometimes more than 1,000 years of combined experience on our Grand Masters Council. And it's at that council presidents, candidates get to present themselves for black belt testing. Now, we also offer a business development mastermind. It's a 90-minute gathering of school owners and instructors, specifically not just to work in their business, but to work on their business and identify the roadblocks and the pitfalls they've put in their own way that are holding them back and helping them scale success. And then we conclude that incredible weekend on Saturday night with the United States Martial Arts Hall of Fame banquet and ceremony. For more information on that, you can visit United States Martial Arts Hall of Fame.com. Now, this whole endeavor that we bring with this mastering your business in the martial arts is brought to you by IMACUSA.com. The International Martial Arts Council of America is the independent martial arts association for martial arts entrepreneurs, not only wanting to become world-class masters of their craft, to become world-class masters at running their business. I'm Dr. John Terry. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.